Every commander knows a good ship is a priceless commodity, a means to an end, a way around, and a generous helping of potential profit. To a pirate, though, your ship isn't just a tool or mode of transport. It's your home. It's your best friend, your faithful companion in all of your adventures and exploits. Like the fictional Captain Jack Sparrow of Old Earthvid said of his ship, the Black Pearl, it's not just a keel and a hull and a deck and sails. That's what a ship needs. But what a ship is, what the Black Pearl really is freedom. The Heart of Gold is exactly that. She's not just a Gudamaya clipper. She's not just a set of drives and shields and guns and life support. She's freedom. Freedom comes at a cost, though. It isn't a right, and you're certainly not owed it. Freedom must be earned and fought for tooth and nail continually to keep it. For that you'll need weapons, shields, a cool resolve, and the will to do what must be done. It's a predator's galaxy out there, and the lion doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. Commander's Log, 13th of February, 3301. The Heart of Gold just got back from the repair bay. Fixing the giant hole that jerk commander in the ass blew into it when we collided in the war zone cost me quite a pretty penny. I think it's about time to head out and start recouping my losses. Should have made him pay for it, but he lost his ship too, and I didn't have the heart. Good friends are hard to come by in my line of work, and I'd rather avoid pissing off the ones I have. The Revenge 2 is safely docked for the time being. A recent firmware update from Falcon DeLacy and the other shipwrights corrected the error in their navcoms to account for the larger mass of the Gudamaya clipper. Several clippers were damaged by errant frameshift fields before Gudamaya and a number of concerned commanders sent FDL a strongly worded letter regarding the clipper's proper mass locking smaller vessels, and FDev, Falcon DeLacy's R&D department, quickly issued a firmware fix. The other shipwrights promptly followed suit, and the clipper should properly be able to throw its weight around now, so to speak. I look forward to seeing how well the Heart of Gold performs. I've heard good things about a system called Witch Hall. Hell, even the name sounds appropriate for a pirate. One thing I will say for certain, the new manifold baffles installed in the main drives definitely appeal to the senses. This baby reminds me of my racing days back in the old HoloSims. I decided I'd better give the clipper a proper run-in before taking it 100 light-years from home, so I stopped off one of my normal hunting grounds, where I spotted this Cobra pilot, Commander Deggs. Most Cobras will be able to outrun this larger ship, but a few might not, so it's worth testing out. I sent Commander Deggs a comm, letting him know my intent. Let's see what happens. Apparently, my targeting computer lost lock on Commander Deggs midway through interdiction. Let's see if I can reacquire a lock on him.
Integrity compromised. Power plant capacity exceeded.
I'm not sure if Commander Deggs is attempting to size me up or just see how agile I am. Either way, he's not running just yet, so this might actually turn out to be a profitable interdiction. Looks like he's hauling just over 30 tons of rares, and apparently I have spooked him because he's now turning tail and fleeing. Let's see if I can get him to drop what I want.
Frameshift charge detected.
He's attempting to run. If the firmware patch is working as advertised, his frameshift drive should charge exponentially slower to account for my vessel's disruptive mass. FDL, don't fail me now.
Target shields offline.
See if I can quickly target his drives to prevent him from accelerating to a speed at which I won't be able to catch up to him. There we go. That last precision railgun shot knocked out his main drives. He's adrift now. Unfortunately, I think he's drifting a bit faster than I can boost to, so he may be pretty much
Target
screwed.
shields online.
Well, I guess he should have listened. Yep, this one's a lost cause. I think I'll move on to slightly slower targets. Made my way over to Zehe, a few systems over from earlier, as I still want to test out the Clipper a bit more thoroughly before setting off into the black in search of useful targets. Shortly after arriving, I spot Commander Melchizedek, who I suspect is hauling rares to and from Zandak. Surprisingly, he submitted to my demands of halting after interdiction
Capacity
and is waiting for me to scan him. Wonder what he's carrying. As I suspected, a small assortment of rare goods. See if I can get him to release a few for me. Surprisingly, the commander obliges and jettisons the requested cargo. As a reward for his compliance, I leave him with his ship intact.
Frameshift charge detected. Cargo scoop deployed.
Cargo required. The two words a pirate loves to hear. A short while later, the second Cobra appears in Zehe and seems to be making a beeline for the same station that the rares are sold at. Now all I have to do is get in range. Once in range, I quickly send a comm indicating my intent and start the interdiction. Let's see if this Cobra does anything stupid.
integrity compromised.
Stupid it is. Despite my earlier warning, the commander immediately punches his boost and makes a break for it. As normal, I target his drives and take up pursuit.
Power plant capacity exceeded. Frameshift charge detected. Target shields offline.
Cobra did his best to evade me, but a final railgun shot took out his engines. Unfortunately, once again, he's drifting faster than I can catch up.
Target shields online.
Deciding to see what I've missed out on, I check his cargo, and discover that he's not even carrying any. Hey, listen to my earlier comm, and this entire situation could have been avoided, and he could have made it safely to the station. Commanders may try to pin the blame on me for this, as I should have scanned before opening fire. Fortunately, the window for safely disabling a Cobra is fairly small, as they are the fastest craft in the game. I made the decision to open fire first, and we both paid the price.
Frameshift drive charging.
Finally arriving at Witch Hall, I'm greeted shortly thereafter by a Laken Type 6 commanded by one Ceobrian. Type 6. Type 6s are the ideal target for a vessel of my class. Their large size allows them to carry a decent amount of cargo, but I can safely outmaneuver and outrun them, allowing me to both mass lock them and disable them before they have a chance to escape. I've noticed another commander in system with deployed hardpoints. Hopefully he doesn't try to track us into the frameshift wake. I didn't have enough time to send him a comm before the interdiction, so I sent him a quick message asking him to cut his engines.
Power plant capacity exceeded.
Commander asks me what he can do for me. Fairly amiable sort. I don't suppose he'll be too thrilled when he finds out that I'm after his cargo. Still a little bit leery about ships ramming me after my recent maintenance spill. This pilot seems to be keen on trying to point his nose at me, so just to be safe, I try to keep myself behind him. Amusingly, he's only dropped 1 ton of tea. I don't think he realizes that when I said drop the tea, I meant all of it. Thanking me for pirating him? That's a new one. Since he was polite enough to comply with my demands, I let him know he's safe from future interdictions from me for 2 days.
Cargo scoop deployed.
Still, just to be safe, I keep an eye on him out of the corner of my cockpit just to make sure he doesn't come back and try to ram me. Stranger things have happened. A short while later, another Cobra appears. This one is unshielded, which is generally a less than good idea. Fortunately, this commander seems to know this.
Power plant capacity exceeded.
The commander intelligently submits to my demands that he cut his engines upon interdiction, and is waiting patiently for me to scan him. This one is carrying between 30 to 40 tons of rares, so rather than take up all of his cargo since he was kind enough to submit, I'll simply ask for 10 of them. As requested, the commander drops the 10 tons of grubs and heads off into the black. As before, I let him know that he has a 2-day grace period at his disposal. Just to be safe from retaliatory rammings, as I've come accustomed to calling them, I go ahead and put 4 pips into shields. Fortunately, this commander seems to think that escape is probably the best option. Later, I'm greeted by the welcome sight of another Type 6 warping into the system. Let's see how well this one fares.
Module malfunction.
Amusingly, as a result of the interdiction damage, my cargo house malfunctions. Fortunately, though, it doesn't drop any of the cargo that I worked hard for earlier. Worked hard for. Yeah, that's the term. This Type 6 seems to think that running is probably the best idea. Target his drives and begin a cargo scan, knowing that I can mass lock him before he can get out. No wonder he wanted to leave. The ship's hauling around 60 to 70 tons worth of rares.
Frameshift charge detected.
Submit my demands to him to see if he'll comply. Notice that he begins charging his frameshift drive. Naturally, I begin shooting. The commander's sudden deceleration caused our vessels to collide. Fortunately, neither of them were damaged in the incident. Apparently, he had a change of heart. I wonder if it had anything to do with the mass lock notification that showed up when he attempted to charge his frameshift drive. I'm accustomed to traders using stalling tactics to try to get away, usually by waiting for another player or law enforcement to come to their aid. I begin to type out a time limit, but before I finish, Commander Jespoon complies with my demands. Another successful interaction, this one with a decent payout. God, I love my job.
Cargo scoop deployed. Frameshift charge detected.
Occasionally, you come across a pilot who is more willing to give up his own life than submit to the demands of a pirate.
Target destroyed.
Commander Fluke here was flying in close proximity to one of the planets in Witch Hall. Rather pretty sight. This should make for a rather beautiful interdiction. In close proximity to the planet, the city lights are easily visible on the surface. Commander Fluke is fairly confident in his Cobra's performance and makes a break for it. Happy to oblige, always love a good chase, target his drives and take off after him.
Power plant capacity exceeded. Target shields offline. Frameshift charge
Apparently not as fast as he thought. I try to be careful with my shots as his hull seems to be taking damage faster than his engines. I don't necessarily want to kill him, just convince him to reconsider.
Target shields online. Target shields offline.
Closer proximity lets me to get a few more accurate shots on his drives, and I disable them with 7% of his hull integrity remaining. Fortunately, he's drifting slow enough for me to easily catch up. Cargo scan reveals he is carrying a quantity of a new item that I haven't seen before, the waters of Shintara. I wonder how much that'll fetch on the black market.
Target shields online. Target shields offline. Flight assist off.
As he attempted to escape, his cargo is now completely forfeit, so I continue to use limpets to remove the remaining items in his cargo hold.
Target shields online. Target shields offline. Flight assist on.
Confident that his cargo hold has been drained, I leave him to drift with 1% hull integrity left, and I go back to claim my prizes.
Target shields online. Cargo scope deployed.
Commander Jeffrey Stube, flying an asp. Asps can be difficult to prey on as they put up quite a fight and have decent defenses. This one appears to be decently armed. I guess we'll have to see how this pilot is feeling. Seeing he's losing the interdiction, Commander Stube elects to submit rather than suffer additional hull damage, which can be expensive in ships of our caliber. This puts me on guard, as commanders have been known to use submission to mask an escape attempt.
Capacity exceeded.
Commander Stube sizes me up as I scan his vessel's cargo hold, no doubt weighing his options as to whether or not his vessel can take mine in a fight. Submit my demand of 20 tons of cargo, and wait for him to make the next move. Amusingly, he attempts to negotiate with me, offering a counteroffer of 10 tons to my initial demand of 20. I decide to remind him of where he and his vessel stand in this particular situation. Fearing he may not enjoy my hostile response, I go ahead and target his drives in case he decides to try anything funny. After a few moments of thick tension, Commander Stu finally drops the cargo that I requested. However, it seems he's left me a little surprise. Since I didn't specify 20 tons of rares, Commander Stu thought it would be appropriate to drop the cheap basic medicines in addition to the rares that I had initially hoped to claim. This guy's a real character. Quick scan of my contacts list, though, reveals that he did in fact drop 20 tons of cargo, which is exactly what I asked for. I do admire a cheeky commander, so I'll let him off the hook with the cargo he dropped.
Frameshift charge detected.
Having absolutely no use for the cheap basic medicines, I try to position myself so that I can scoop the expensive valuables without damaging the rest of them, using the basic medicines as a buffer. Judging by all the clunks on my hull, I don't think I was very successful. Yep, I'm gonna need a new paint job when I get back. I was surprised to see another Imperial Clipper this far out from the core systems. Naturally, I had to interdict it to say hello. And, of course, to see what he was carrying. Despite my earlier fortune with pilots submitting to my demands, this one seemed pleasantly happy to try and run. I was left with no choice but to disable him.
Cannot comply. Target shields online.
I do feel bad about shooting at such a pretty ship, though, I will say that. Did he just undergo spontaneous massive existence failure? I sure hope that's not a design flaw.
Power plant capacity exceeded.
I spotted another asp as I was just about to head home for the evening. I decided to go ahead and take the chance and interdict it. It seems to be decently armed. The pilot doesn't seem to be too keen on fighting.
Frameshift charge detected.
There's a moderate load of rares on board, so I figure I'll go ahead and try to use one of my last hatch breakers. Try to get a little bit of cargo out of him.
Target shields offline.
I had been expecting a fight from this guy, so I had 4 pips and shields. I shall pay for that now with a few delays.
Flight assist off. Target shields online.
Fortunately, had I been a bit more patient, I would have disabled his shields again. As it were, his shields came back online right as my hatchbreaker attached, destroying it. I guess we'll have to resort to plan B.
Target shields offline.
Carefully match this velocity with flight assistance off, directly under the prow of his ship, drifting off to the starboard side. This gives me a good angle on his cargo hatch, which I reduced 3%, causing it to eject most of his cargo.
Flight assist on. Cargo scoop deployed.
Home sweet home. Well, my second home. I'm flying my first home.
Docking request granted.
It's been a successful day of piracy. I amassed a total of 74 tons of stolen cargo, and now all I have to do is slip it back into the station, where I can sell it on the black market and collect my money. The local authorities know me pretty well from earlier in my career, as I helped them weed out a local group of pirates that had been attacking and murdering their defenseless traders. They seemed to raise their eyebrows when I whizzed through the docking port at 250 meters a second, and they rarely bother scanning me. But just to be sure, I have my finger poised on the countermeasures toggle.
Docking successful. Engines disengaged.
Safe and sound. Well, let's take a look and see how much I made. Ammunition, fuels, and repairs comes to about 150,000 credits after several interdictions. Hopefully, I've made more than enough to compensate for those losses. Some mental arithmetic shows me that I took in over 808,000 credits. After my damages, that brings my total profit to 650,000 credits. While this might not be the fastest way to make money, it certainly is fun. This is Commander Dread Pirate, signing off.